Get rid of some of the stuff. We're live. Good morning, everyone. How are you? Who's not here yet? So hello to all the people who are scrolling this and seeing it hours later. All right. How's your morning? Is it crazy getting downstairs?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah, these days are basically like, I'm just like, hey, Angelica, you're doing everything this morning. And then I walk away.
Yeah, it's not healthy.
She luckily was off today, so it gives me a lot of flexibility. We have a plumber coming because the pipes are like, when we flush the toilet, like shakes. The county has really strong water pressure apparently, and blah blah blah. So that's my morning. So I'll have to wrap this up about 10 o'clock because he's coming here to fix my toilet. No, he's coming here to fix the plumbing. I don't actually know what he has to fix yet. Right, give everybody another minute or two just to make sure people can get here. I'm gonna look on LinkedIn, make sure everything's good, and please comment. Let us know you're here. What's up, Nick? Oh, that's at least one. Hope you're doing well. And I would say, are we announcing that we're going to do this every Thursday, or is that?
I mean, it sounds like it works for me.
Oh, works for me. Every Thursday. There you go. You heard it live right now. We just decided. I kind of felt like we were doing that. We were bouncing back and forth between 2 days. It's already too much. I can already feel it. But I like adding in the production of the show. I did miss doing this. So as much as it feels like work, it's a fun piece of work to get this up and running. So
for sure. Yeah.
All right, everybody. Wait, I actually want to see make sure everybody's here.
That is true. Eric did announce it for us.
I don't want to tag everybody every time, so I'm definitely not going to do that. So I just appreciate you guys being here.
Did you tag everyone this morning?
No, I did not. No, yeah, I didn't want to. No, I can't. I wouldn't do that to people. You already get the alert. Like, I'm not going to tag you twice and be like, Ryan, what the hell? All right, guys. Appreciate it. There's a couple people here. And oh, by the way, Nick, I love Nick's comment. The regular crew, the baker's dozen. There is legit about a consistent, I would say, 12 or 13 people. That really is hilarious. So love it. Anyway, let's go ahead and get started. Today, we're going to be talking about social local and using social media locally, which this was a request from Anthony Ruffalo. So if Anthony, you're there, this is for you. And if you're not, it's not for you.
YOLO.
What's up, guys? Welcome back to Advisor, bringing back a little consistency. So we will be here Thursdays at 9:30. We're at least going to do this weekly. So appreciate you guys jumping back in with us, engaging, giving us stuff to talk about. We did spend a couple months off. And one thing that was nice about this, Corey, and let me know if you agree, is that it gave us a lot of time to just talk to our members, practice our content, and figure out the execution that everybody feels of LinkedIn changing a little bit.
Yeah.
It gave us a lot of topics as well. So that's why I'm excited to we could almost redo every single episode that we did previously in a better fashion now that we're a more mature company. So I'm excited to bring you guys what I feel like is an improved version of our view of marketing. So
I agree with that.
I have a pretty long post up. I got pretty technical in it. I really like people to be able to read the whole post and understand the episode because I don't expect people to sit there for an hour. But if they do, that's awesome. And if you're here after the fact, appreciate you guys. So today we're going to be talking about social local and using social media locally. Something that I think is super powerful and something that I think isn't quite talked about enough is the local factor and how social media enhances everybody who knows you offline and attaches online. And we'll get more granular, but that's going to be the idea and the theme of today.
Yeah, big one. I don't think a lot of advisors are probably taking advantage of this. And those who are, are dominating it and know it very well. So with that, I would say, why don't you tee up social local, what it is, what it means to you, and then how you and I can go back and forth with how we've talked to advisors and what we've learned about it.
So we shared, I would say, 3 mini topics in between this big topics that breaks it down granularly into the steps that I think about this in. So I'm going to go through each one. And I also want to say something that's really cool. I noticed LinkedIn added the fact that you can see the people who are attending. Now, it doesn't seem to show everybody, but it shows the circles and the name on my phone. So you can actually see it. So even if Nick didn't comment, it actually shows Nick is attending this live event. So I don't know if that's new, but I don't feel like I've ever seen it before. So that's cool. Nice little update. So the first I want to say is establishing yourself as the go-to by a local business. I don't know if I meant to say that, by a local business or corporation. So let's just talk about the high level view of why we would do something like this. Why be the go-to person at a local business? And I think most of the answers are pretty obvious, but obviously word of mouth is still one of the most powerful things in the world. Throw a little content behind it, and it really is still, the crux of marketing. I think the thing that everybody should be fighting for, and getting into a local business makes that a lot easier because you get the water cooler talk.
When you say be the go-to, like, are you, because here's where my mind goes with this social local thing, without context. Are we talking like Main Street USA, like mom and pop store kind of thing, pick up the 401k plans? Or are we talking like, top 50 corporation in the country happens to be based in your city, and you've infiltrated that and have become the go-to retirement planning specialist, the financial planner for those folks?
I would, one of my examples was to look for a business that was big enough to be worth your time. So something where I felt like you could get in and word of mouth could travel. Not sure how many employees that may mean, but obviously it can be difficult to get into somewhere. But a local hospital probably has a couple hundred employees. But if you can be the person who's getting events, or if you're in the cafeteria, you get a few handfuls of clients and everybody starts talking, even in a big company, even in a local big hospital, or say Lockheed Martin, that's by me, tons of people in there. And I'm sure everybody's trying to fight. But again, you get in there, the word of mouth starts to travel. It travels big, and you only need a handful of clients from something like that. You get 20 people from the same company with the same problem, that can run your book. That can be your entire life, and that can give you a couple $100,000. And that's the reason why I think it's worth it, even if it takes a couple years to establish and really get known. I think the bigger the company, the harder it can be, but the more opportunity you have to obviously get those 20 to 50 ideal clients.
How does someone get in there?
Glad you asked, Corey. So let's go to topic 2. Obviously, we get the high level why we do that. And first of all, let me also say that I know a lot of advisors who are doing this successfully. And when you infiltrate a business and you're in there and you're trusted and people start talking to you, I mean, this could be $1 million rollovers from referrals. It could be $6 million ESOPs. It depends what the company has to offer, and it can give you a lot of opportunity depending on that company. So the other thing I would do besides the size is look through your current book of business and where people work, and find out their pain points, find out where they're working, and see if you can't learn about their 401k, map all this stuff, and start really learning about what they go through so that you can start talking to them through content and through connections through LinkedIn.
I agree. I think it's one of the biggest missed opportunities happening in corporate America right now. And even coming from somewhere where I worked on the product side, the wholesale side, the investment side, there should have been something in place where an advisor was allowed to come in or was invited to come in and do lunch. Like, that should have been something like, that happened locally in the Philadelphia area at the places I worked. Whether it was a couple advisors that would do it or one. When you work in marketing at a mutual fund company or an annuity company or a life insurance company, wherever you're working, you don't really know the first thing about you're in the business, but you're not the person who knows the first thing about putting a financial plan together and taking care of your own stuff. And that's I think that's a misnomer and a big mistake that folks are, especially even in our industry, that's such a layup.
Absolutely. And the other thing I like to mention is the power that I feel like social media has when you're local. There is some sense to somebody, even if you're virtual, being closer. I still believe that when people see you're in the same town, it just feels like you understand it a little bit more. And I think most people look at social media like, I'm talking to everybody. Now I have the opportunity, I'm in Maryland, I can work with somebody in California. Isn't that an awesome opportunity? And it is. But I do think it's more power and more intelligent focus to be local first and to figure out how to get known here and expand out.
Yeah, agreed. There's so many less barriers. And then the commonalities you guys can share. You can talk about the things going on in town, sports teams, local this and that, new restaurant, yada, yada. It breaks it all down.
The language, the culture, the way you talk, the way you act. I do agree that something happens locally that's powerful. And it doesn't mean that I'm telling everybody not to have a national practice. If people are crushing it all over the world, that's awesome. But it is still really powerful to be local. So again, the whole point of this episode is to point to the things that I think matter and to switch the mindset to say, we're not talking to everybody. You can be talking to somebody down the street, even though you're on the internet. It's okay.
Yeah, agreed. What was the third point you wanted to drive home with this? Because I thought that was a big one.
It is connecting offline and online.
Yeah.
And I touched on it a little bit already, but the idea to me is that your content and your relationships offline kind of connect. And how you do that is by whether you do a virtual event at a company, whether you meet with somebody, however you get into a company, you're connecting the real world to the internet world. And a quick example of that may be working with a local company down the street. You're connecting with those employees through LinkedIn with the intention of hopefully getting future clients, but you're also talking to people within that company that can get you deeper into that company. That may mean HR, or it may mean the marketing department, or somebody that can put you in front of the people that you want to talk to. For example, if you want to get into a local hospital because you work with nurses and doctors and you're used to working with their 403Bs and you can explain that to them, getting a nurse or a doctor may be difficult, especially on LinkedIn, but getting an employee who's looking for marketing help and value add to nurses and doctors is a big opportunity. So that's somebody where I'm looking to connect with that person to pull me deeper into the company so I can reach the people I want to talk to.
Yeah, that's huge. I like that.
It's huge. And I think most of this is little mindset stuff, but there are technical things you can do. So obviously I don't want to be extremely high level. I have an example of, now let me back up to point two, because I had an example and I kind of want to show somebody what I mean when you're talking about creating content around specific pain points of that company. And I have, my dad used to work for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, and it's about 50 minutes or an hour from here. And he was actually with the CSRS system, but now it changed to FERS, which may mean nothing to you, but it means everything to federal employees. And what they have is Social Security. They have a pension. They have a TSP, which is similar to a 401k. And they have, within that TSP, they have specific government funds, G, F, C, S, and I. There's a lot of things that I can talk about. There's a lot of pain points. You have great insurance. What happens when you switch to Medicare? Which one comes first? Just little things to talk about depending on the person you're hitting. And having those pain points, understanding their world, understanding their language, and understanding their retirement, you're able to show them value that they don't see while working there. And that's something that's extremely powerful from an advisor. And to me, that's where you win the rollover. If you talk about the rollover, you don't win the rollover. But if you you could find and save them $100 a month on insurance that's better for some reason, that doesn't seem monetarily, but it's value that you're pointing out to somebody that they never saw in the first place. And their plan better than them, you become the go-to guy.
Advisors, how often is this happening? How many people are dropping the ball on this who know the details of these employee plans, know the lingo, know the language, can speak to it, understand what's coming down? That seems like that's a layup. You immediately are in the top 1% of advisors to work with those people versus the general public, the general advisor out there. If you can cut through all that. And I guess my question to you, Ryan, and everyone watching and in the future, like, how much of that is sitting in your back pocket that you're not utilizing?
I think there's two like ways to look at this. Usually somebody who I think is in a market that's doing really well maybe doesn't feel like they have to market online as much. Or it is just a missed opportunity. But I've seen somebody get, we actually have a member who got so big, he's like, I feel like he just started marketing just because he feels like it, but his business is crushing just from the service he provides locally. And that's why I would say, putting out a little bit of content is the cherry on top that I think, can make you can move hundreds of dollars depending on where the company is and who it is. But it's a huge opportunity. But I really think advisors are not doing the due diligence that they should do and learning the intricacies of the plans and the value they can provide to people, because it's a lot of work to grab all this stuff and look at everything to make sure that you know what you're talking about. Not everybody, not all advisors understand insurance and benefits. They stay in the investment world, and that's why a lot of people like rollovers, because it's easier to talk about.
I'm going to say something that might not go over well with some advisors, but I actually think it's laziness. Now that you've spelled this out for me and I understand it, every advisor has these client meetings and these relationships, and every single advisor who has a book of business has someone who works at a big company. And frankly, I think all it takes, now that I'm thinking this through in real time with you guys, is that the financial advisor just digs in deeper with that individual person and starts asking more targeted and direct and pertinent questions. And by teeing it up by saying, John, I want to spend an extra minute. If you've got the time today, I want to spend an extra minute digging into your, Smith Company plan. Like, let's talk more about this, because I feel like I could help. I could help so many of your colleagues with this. I just need to make sure I understand it better. Like, are you doing that as an advisor, or is it crossing, checking the boxes, crossing the T's, dotting the I's, making sure everything's good on the up, right? And then moving on to the next meeting?
Yeah. I think it's both. And I do agree. Advisors, I think we have to do a better job of understanding what it means to take care of somebody. And I think that should be a natural aspect of making sure we're looking at those things. I understand reading a 401k plan is not going to be fun, but it is something that's important, because if you're finding a value, again, that you can provide for somebody, the work that you put in there is market research. You're learning about who you're going to talk to. That's going to amplify your content. It's going to amplify your value. It's going to amplify your business as a whole. So I really would stress to take the time to do, like you said, the digging, the asking good questions from somebody that you respect, from a company that's close that you'd love to get into. If you have that opportunity, that is the exact first thing I would do, is take that person out to lunch, ask them for an annual review, and say, hey, this is what I'm looking to try to do. Especially because a lot of advisors have great relationships with their people. So you're not afraid to ask things like that. Maybe you just didn't think about digging in, but it's definitely time to do that. And it could be one of the best things you do for your business.
Look at it this way. Here's a real life example. You came from LPL, right? You understood the LPL compliance handbook inside and out, obviously. Think about the last year of your life and how many of the compliance handbooks you now understand.
Yeah.
You probably understand almost all of them, from talking to potential clients and current clients about what their constraints and their rules are.
Not a skill I'm happy about having, but
why? Yeah. That's a tremendous skill. You can you understand when you talk to someone at a firm, you can't even go there. It doesn't work for them. Or you can go there because it does work for them. Same thing with advisors. You work at the steel mill. I understand your plan. Like, I get it.
Absolutely. Yeah, I know. I completely agree. I completely agree with that. What else did I want to say? Oh, so when I'm talking about when I'm talking about connecting offline and online, I mentioned the two intentions in terms of reaching ideal clients. So how do people do that? I think there's this stigma that nobody should reach out to anybody ever. And I think, and that's difficult for me, not just as a salesman, but as somebody who is looking at young advisors. Like, what are you supposed to do? Post content and sit around for a year and a half? Because that's what it can take for you to become a good enough writer to start reaching people, good enough at videos, finding your target, learning financial planning. I mean, you're flooded with, and even people growing who's 7-8 years in the business might only be up to 8, 9, 10 million. And you're really trying to get ahead. You're trying to make that money and have the flexibility and have the ideal lifestyle we all want, but you got to start somewhere. And I think it starts by building. And one of the relationships, I would say, whether you're using Sales Navigator, starting conversations in DMs, but that's going to be the art of what you say to that person, how quickly you say something. Obviously we're not shooting people links and we're not saying, hey, I'm a financial advisor, do you need some help with something? It's got to be lighter than that. But I do think it can be important to start creating some type of buzz and relationships, and at the very least connect with somebody and don't say anything, but your content will speak your voice for you.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I have yet to see someone mastering DMs without putting in the foundational work yet. So, you can't have one without the other, in my opinion. And I'll leave it at that.
I think it's really important that we all understand the fundamentals. Obviously, as a financial planner, you're learning a lot about taxes, especially these days, because we're all competing with financial advisors who are elevating, and you got somebody 15, 20 years in the business. Like, it's hard to compete with that person. So I think sometimes people wonder, why is this person's content so good? Are they entertaining? And I said, no, they've been a financial advisor for 20 years. They've had 20 years or 15 years of conversations and interactions that led them to speak these pain points to a way that resonated with their clients, and now they can do it with future clients. So it's a lot of work, but getting there changes your life. I mean, that's what everybody wants. You want the referral network where the book starts snowballing in the right direction and it feels like you're just running and you feel like you're walking downhill. And I think it's really hard to get over that hump, but that's why it's so important to not only use social media, but connect to somewhere local, because I think it gives you the opportunity for long-term brand and short-term business.
Yeah, I'm on board. I think this was a good 20 minutes on this. I believe in this as a pillar activity for a financial advisor locally. I really do. I think if an advisor came to me, 25 years old, how do I start? What do I do? I would find a narrow niche in your area and own that, and own it with probably even the millennials there, and use that as the way to get in, because that's going to be a lot easier for you to grab someone who's in a similar situation as you than someone who's 52, senior VP, 650 grand. That's going to be a more difficult thing for a 25-year-old advisor versus the 26-year-old who happens to work at the company which you're targeting.
And for anybody who feels lost in content, I would say give that a shot if you have no idea how to use LinkedIn. So it doesn't necessarily matter whether you're just starting or you've been around for a while. If you're new here, if you're new on social media, work towards the local company that whether you have a connection or not. It at least gives you a target and an intention. And you want to make sure, obviously, that when people see you, you're speaking the language you want. You want to reach the right people. So pick your companies carefully. And not all of us are in a city. Not everybody has this many options. Obviously, if you're Midwest somewhere and you're not as many businesses, then it's going to be more difficult. So I understand how that goes. But it's at least worth a shot, because, again, I think there's really something to say about having the intention of content. Most people feel like, I don't know what to say, so they start speaking to everybody. And I think when you have a local company, your content at least gets granular and your message starts being heard by somebody who's actually listening.
Was that the plumber?
Yep.
You handled that extremely well by not breaking.
I'm a professional.
This is good. This has been a good segment. I think I'm ready to go off the record. That's why I'm pushing you. But yeah, this is a good. I agree with this.
Let's do it. It's going to get chaotic here. So, hey, does anybody, if there's anybody, do you guys have any questions, comments? Like, I don't know who's necessarily here. I can see some people are still obviously hanging around. Anybody have any insights, whether young advisors, new advisors, what you've done online, what you've done to connect to the new company? We've heard about somebody just getting involved and getting in the cafeteria, Corey, or getting and you just, hey, can I set up a table? And you're like, sure. And it's at a really big company, and you get some foot traffic, you start some conversations, you do it the right way. It really does work. So I'm interested in what's working. Yeah, no, I agree with you. Get the comments in. Happy to chat about anything. I'm going to try to rearrange some lights while we're live here. So I'm just giving you a heads up as to what I'm doing. Cool. Awesome. The plumber, while I'm literally talking to you guys, was moving blankets and shit out of his way, and I guess shutting off my water so he can fix something. So I'm sure I'll have to run. He said he was going to be here at 10. It's 9:57. I guess early is good, unless it's not. What's the last really good movie that you watched? Oh man, this is really off the record. I don't know. What did I just watch? I don't know if it was a really good movie. I liked Reminiscence. That was pretty cool. It was on I've been on HBO Max, the app, recently. That's been my go-to place. They put I love movies, so they put a bunch there. And I'm the type of person who will watch the same movie 1,000 times. So as they had it up there, I've already watched. Now I don't. This is over a week's period, but I've already watched the full length of the extended version of Lord of the Rings, of all of them, as well as all the Harry Potters, which there's like 8 of them. So
I'm so bad at movies. I'm the worst to ask about this.
That's awesome. That's what makes us different. I feel like you live on YouTube and like through content, and I actually consume very little content, but I will watch The Sandlot once per year. So
yeah, I know nothing about that stuff. I mean, I've seen The Sandlot, but I'm sorry,
what's that?
You have a tan dog also?
Oh, yes. Yeah. All right. Maybe we're just gonna. Yeah. Maybe I'm gonna go because this guy is pissing me off. He got outside because he's moving the gate. All right, I gotta go. This guy's a fucking idiot. Sorry, everybody.
Oh boy.
All right. I will. I'll talk to you guys soon. Let me quarterback this guy, and then I'll figure it out.
Cheers, everybody.
My wife's with the kids, so talk to you guys soon. Apologize, we have to shut this off unless you want to keep going, Corey. I don't know if you can end the broadcast.
Why don't you just leave studio and I'll shut her down. All
right, take it easy, man.
See ya.
He opened the door. He goes, "You got a tan dog?" He just got out.
Nice.
Anyway, I hope he fixes the water.
And there goes Ryan. Now it is just me. What's up, guys? Yeah, Nick, it's not that I'm more of a music guy. I'm not a 2-hour giving you my attention guy. I spend a lot of time consuming business content. It fascinates me. So that's where a lot of my time spent. And I'm thinking about this stuff all the time, like creating and sitting on my iPad and the computer and trying to come up with things and do different things and learn. That's what works for me. That's my downtime. So kids in bed, house cleaned up, 9:15, whatever the time is, I'm sitting down for the next 2 hours. As you know, we've had some chats doing that. So that's my thing. Mike, good to see you. Glad you're up early joining us this morning. So good stuff. I enjoy the videos you're putting together from the beach. Those are good. So anyway, this is totally off the record. I will end this. Glad to be with you guys this morning. Hope everyone's still having a good summer. I don't know if your kids are back in school or they're going back to school or where you're at and what's going on, or if you call Labor Day the end of summer. But we've got, I think, a couple more weeks until things get busy again, and I'm super excited for it. I think September 8th or 9th, whenever that Tuesday after Labor Day, it's going to be full throttle, full steam ahead, and I'm excited for it. I can't wait. I think it's been a terrific 2.5, 3 months of kind of unwinding, and especially August has been so quiet and people kind of getting out and enjoying themselves and some family time and some R&R. But I cannot wait for September. I think it's going to be an awesome month for business, and I hope you guys are excited for it too. So thanks for joining us this morning. Good stuff. And chat soon. Have a great weekend. See you guys.